All right, guys. I'm going to try this a whole new way. Our digitally interactive notebook is going to be totally interactive by accompanying it with quizzes. So let's see how it works. Uh, this is a follow up on the crash course on 17th century conflict. That is European History, Episode 11. And before I want to get started, a lot of you probably didn't know where the Holy Roman Empire was and what it was. If you paid attention to some previous lessons, you have an idea. But it is the area in Europe which is today mostly Germany and Austria. There's of course a few other countries in there, but I'm going to focus mostly on Germany. And you have the Kingdom of France here, Kingdom of Hungary, Poland, Kingdom of England. If you notice, these are a whole bunch of city-states. That is the Holy Roman Empire. All right. Now, 17th century, let's think of some historical context to help us answer some of these questions. First, we know there was religious conflict, specifically between Catholics and Protestants. That's going to play a huge part in this conflict. There's also political conflict. The Habsburg family and Spanish are beginning to lose influence in Central Europe. And of course, when they begin to lose influence, other big dogs want to step in. We also have a growing population, and a growing population means, of course, more mouths to feed, also leads to more conflicts a lot of times. Um, Now, here's where it hits and where you should really focus in. One, the Spanish did not account for inflation during the Age of Exploration, and all the silver they brought back really devalued because it was too much, kind of law of supply and demand there. Then the Little Ice Age. Intense rainfall, lack of sunshine, lower temperatures, not good for farming, and we have a decreased harvest with more mouths to feed. That's going to really make some serious conflict. All right, so the Little Ice Age is probably the most important thing to think of here. Now, the causes of the 30 Years' War. The Holy Roman Empire is religiously divided, and of course, the Peace of Augsburg after the Lutheran Wars allowed German princes to choose their religion, and you have two groups forming, the Protestants and the Catholics, into their own little leagues or unions. Um, so politically divided were they had 300 different principalities. That means really 300 different city states or countries within their empire. The Austrian Habsburgs wanted to centralize the monarchy and kind of rule it all. German principalities resisted any attempt for the Habsburgs to try to make it one empire unified. And then the Holy Roman Empire was also facing international problems. France, which was Catholic, really wanted to see the Holy Roman Empire divided because they did not, if they were divided, they didn't have any kind of threat toward France. The Lutheran kings in Denmark and Sweden supported the Protestants, kind of the anti-Catholic movement there. And both of these groups would actually ally. While the French Catholics ally, well, we'll get to that. So there's four phases of the 30 Years' War. You don't need to know all four, but what I want you to notice is that it goes back and forth, seesawing back and forth until the French become involved. When France joins the war on the Protestant side, the Catholics are crushed. And why would a Catholic France do that? Here's the big idea you need to know. All Europe hates the Habsburgs. They don't want to see the Holy Roman Empire secede. They want to see it divided. Now, when France joined the war, they actually pretty simply win, and some major things happen in the Peace of Westphalia. One, the Pope has really lost his power. He's kind of ignored. You get the more important were the political leaders. The German states were fully recognized as independent city states. France gained some valuable territory, and Sweden got some valuable territory, and the Dutch got some valuable territory. So some of that valuable land that was within the Holy Roman Empire is divided among the French, the Swedish, and the Dutch. All right, that's kind of all you need to know there. And the last thing, the consequences of the 30 Years' War. Well, one, it devastated the German economy and population. There were even reports of people even eating each other during the war. A third of the German population died. Famine and war took a toll at the Holy Roman Empire. Their commercial growth was stifled, they're fragmented, and they would not be reunified for quite some time. And of course, those events will lead up to World War One, and Germany be unified under the Weimar Republic, and then once again under that short man with the funny mustache who started World War II. And probably the biggest thing you need to know is that France, with their involvement in this and ending the 30 Years' War, emerges as the supreme European power. All right, so that's a lot there. There's only a few questions I asked. Hopefully, you did very well. If you like this format, tell me to stay with it. If you don't, tell me to go back to the good old days. Either way, it's actually easier the first way, but I'll do it either way you want.